Today, we begin with a high-stakes phone call between Washington and Beijing that has opened a new chapter in an already tense geopolitical triangle. On Monday, US President Donald Trump and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping spoke on the phone. According to statements from Chinese officials, the conversation swept through a wide range of issues, including trade, Russia's war in Ukraine, fentanyl, and the increasingly contested question of Taiwan. But it was the issue of Taiwan that dominated this call. According to Beijing, President Xi told Trump that what China calls the return of Taiwan is an integral piece of post-World War II international order, one he said was forged with the United States in their joint fight against fascism. China's foreign ministry also claimed President Trump acknowledged how central the Taiwan issue is to Beijing. Taipei, however, wasted no time in pushing back. On Tuesday, Taiwan's premier said the people have made their position clear, adding that a return to China is not an option.
We must once again emphasize to the Republic of China that Taiwan is a fully sovereign and independent country. For the 23 million people of our nation, return is not an option.
Taiwan's elected government insists it is already a self-governing democratic entity with its own political identity and its own future. President Trump, for his part, made no mention of Taiwan when he confirmed the call on Truth Social. Instead, he highlighted what he described as extremely strong US-China relations and announced reciprocal state visits, first to Beijing in April, then a return visit to Washington later in the year. This comes as reports suggest that the US might be considering allowing Nvidia to sell its advanced AI chips to China, further hinting at renewed ties between the two countries. The heated backdrop makes the moment even more volatile. China is already locked in a diplomatic standoff with Japan, a key US ally, after the new Prime Minister Sanei Takaichi suggested Tokyo could militarily intervene if Taiwan were attacked. That remark triggered a sharp downturn in diplomatic ties between the two nations. And in an interesting twist, Prime Minister Takaichi said she too spoke with President Trump, discussing his call with Xi and the wider security picture in the Indo-Pacific.
President Trump told me that we are very close friends and that I could call him at any time. Regarding the content of our talks, as it is related to diplomatic exchanges, I would like to refrain from disclosing details.
All of this comes as Washington continues to walk its delicate diplomatic tightrope. The United States does not formally recognize Taiwan as a sovereign state, but it is the island's most significant partner and its largest arms supplier. Meanwhile, trade tensions form the second major pillar of the Trump-Xi relationship. Monday's call follows their in-person meeting in October. That was their first since 2019. That session in South Korea brought a temporary truce in a trade war that has rattled markets for months. But tariffs averaging just under 50% still loom over billions of dollars worth of goods. And as these conversations move from private phone lines to global headlines, the world is left watching a fragile balance, one that could shift with a single call, a single statement, or a single miscalculation.
They promised glory. They delivered fear. They shaped nations. They scarred generations. From brutal purges to propaganda machines, from stolen power to violent falls from the throne. Welcome to The Dictator, a series that strips away the myth and then exposes the men behind the tyranny. History remembers their power. Firstpost reveals their truth.